African American Heritage Festival. We're going to see what's all to this. If this really about the heritage of the African American or something else. You know what I'm saying? We're going to see what's to this. It's supposed to be about African American heritage, right? But already they creeping in everybody else and say, no room in our hearts for prejudice. So that means all are welcome here because we not prejudiced. And then look at this right here. It went from African American heritage to Race Unity Day. Something to that, man. We're gonna ask some of these questions out here and how people feel about it's supposed to be about African American heritage and why we can't just make it about us. Why we always gotta group or incorporate other races. Why this gotta be a moniker? If this is about African Americans, why are we even talking about prejudice? Just saying. God damn.
The mission of Operation Epic Fury is laser focused.
America just put out a statement that if you're an American in the Middle East, you need to leave now, ASAP.
If this situation, Epic Fury, was many months in the planning, as Secretary Hegseth says, why no plan to get our people out of the region? As many as 1 million Americans living in the Middle East given no escape window.
I'm the girl that decided to spend her 30th birthday in Dubai. And I'm coming on here very humbly, asking my president to just seize it. I'm an American taxpaying citizen. And I've now been stuck over here since the 24th.
If you are calling about the crisis in the Middle East, please press 1. If not, press 2. Please do not rely on the U.S. government for assisted departure or evacuation at this time. There are currently no United States evacuation points.
They are toast, and they know it.
All right, this is the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge under Commander General Yohana. And since 1969, we have been teaching Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans the truth about the Bible, the truth about what it is to live in this world, the truth about anything you can absolutely think of. All right, so right now, tonight's class is titled, and let me get to the screen for y'all. All right, tonight's class is titled The Black Family, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. All right. And what we need to talk about with this particular subject is how we should actually be when it comes to being a family, because the toxicity in the world, the oppression, the pressure that we are all under, and this is women and men, Black women and men, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. We are under an unsurmountable amount of pressure. Like if any other culture was under this pressure, they would have folded or they would have nuked the entire world by now. All right. So again, tonight's class is called The Black Family. I appreciate anybody who likes and shares the class. Also, remember to subscribe to our channel. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and grab the first scripture for us, which is going to be out of the book of Amos. Give me 1 second. And that'll be Amos 3 and 2. All right. Bear with me for one moment. Let me go ahead and get there. And y'all let me know how the sound is. Sounds all right in the headphones, but I just want to make sure everything is tawab. All right. All right. So we'll actually start at verse 1. All right. And Amos was a prophet. And when he spoke to the family, which is the children of Israel. All right. So Amos chapter 3 and verse 1 says, "Hear this word that the Lord hath spoken against you, O children of Israel." So we starting off with this verse is speaking about the children and the father, because if he's calling us children, he is our father, right? And that is part of a family, a father and his children, also a mother and his children, but a father and their children is what this is talking about. It says, "Hear this word that the Lord hath spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying." So the Lord brought blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans out of the land of Egypt, and he called us a family. So not only a family sense in the sense of a father, a mother, and children, but also a family, which is a nation of people, right? All right. One more time. "O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, you only have I known of all the families of the earth." There are different families across this earth, but the Lord chose to have us represented as his family, his children. And we need to pay attention and hone into that. We belong to the Lord. If somebody is in your family, they belong to the same group as you. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we don't know what part of the family, we don't know what part of family we're in. We have people telling us that we're one race under God. They'll say that there's only the human race, but for some reason, our family is the one who gets treated horrible. It's verse 2 again says, "You only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore, I will punish you for all your iniquities." The Lord cares about what we are doing. The Lord cares about what we have going on in our lives. And right now, whether it is the nuclear family that we know about, whether it is Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans being a family, we have not been doing the job that the Lord wants us to do. And we have to fix that, right? And how do we fix that? We fix that by coming back to the Lord. We fix that by understanding the wisdom that comes out of the Bible. There's a whole playbook on how to be a family. There's a whole playbook on how to be, a neighbor and to treat the people from your extended family. How children should treat their parents, how husbands should treat their wives, how wives should treat their husbands. And that all comes out of the scriptures. Some might say it's an archaic book and it's outdated. People don't seem to be doing so well as a family. If we look up the stats, the family unit isn't doing so well right now. There's a lot of broken homes. Let's see, broken homes have increased because we got AI at our fingertips. We don't just got to use the internet, for shaking tail and flashing money. We can actually look up something constructive. Let's see, broken homes have increased in America. All right. Let's see what the AI overview says. And broken homes is speaking to single parent homes. That means the family broke up. That's what that means. All right. This is the AI overview. One of the sources is Truth Magazine. All right. It says the number of single parent and broken homes has increased in America, with roughly 26% of children currently living in single parent households. This shift reflects long-term declines in marriage rates. When you make a marriage with a woman, y'all become a family, one flesh, like the scripture said. When it talked about it in Genesis chapter 3 with Adam, or Salakia chapter 2 with Adam and Eve. It says this shift reflects long-term declines in marriage rates and shifts in traditional family structures, which are further exacerbated by an increasingly unaffordable national and local housing market. Man, the devil is increasing the price of things so much that it's affecting families to where they're breaking up. The stress is just too much. This place does not have it figured out. The Lord has it figured out, and he's given it to us for us to know, for us to let you know what's going on. All right. To be a family, we got to at least agree on the simple things. We got to agree on the simple things. Something simple to know that there is a God in heaven, and you can find out about who he is in the Bible and who his children are and what family he wants represented to be the rulers of this world. That's a simple thing to know. It's right in the scriptures. Another simple thing, morality. How can you be a family on one accord as a people, as a unit, in a nuclear family, as a household structure, if you don't even know what morality is? That's something that a family has. We got to be evenly yoked in this thing, man. Another simple thing, that there is an existence of racism till this day. Even though you got coons that say that there's no longer racism, even though you got, the oppressor that'll tell you have every opportunity in the world, a simple thing would know that is a lie. We a family. We should agree with each other, at least on those few things. I'm gonna go ahead and play a real quick, because some people just don't understand what family they belong to, and they make some treacherous comments. But let me go ahead and play this for y'all real quick. Let me see if I can get this up on the screen. Bear with me for one moment. All right. Let me see. Bear with me for one moment. Let me go ahead and share the screen. All right, there we go.
Kind of behavior and get angry when someone calls it out. It shouldn't be called out. You should be on a loudspeaker shouting it out, because this is an absolute and complete embarrassment. You can bet your ass I'm gonna go a little further than this on my next video.
Let me let it play again, because it started in the middle.
Bunch of individuals, and this is why property value and the value of life goes up around everyone but you. This video right here is why people look at you and consider you animals, apes, monkeys, running the wild.
Now, I just want to touch on this point real quick. He said the behavior of these young men, this is probably something that's taking place in 2025, 2026 with whatever they have going on. They're playing music, they're dancing, they're getting a little rambunctious. He wants them to be in subjection and controlled. He wants them to be, polite, nice, smiling, bow tie wearing Negroes. But he said because they're out there and the police are out there trying to shut down whatever celebration they having right now, he's saying that is the reason why we are likened to animals and monkeys. That's what he's saying. But that's just not true. That can't be true, because they've been calling us monkeys for what has it been, for almost 1,000 years, since the 1700s. They called his grandparents monkeys. They called his grandparents monkeys, and so on. But this man is looking at the black youth and saying, because they don't have any structure, that's why they call us monkeys. A family doesn't operate like that. They know how to see what the problem is. The problem is that fathers are out of the home. That's the problem. The problem is the mothers have been weakened by a serpent that has tricked them into believing that they don't need a man. So what happens is you have a situation where there is no structure. But that happens in white society. They throw raves. They get rambunctious in the streets. They tear down, signs when the Philadelphia Flyers win a giant game. And they do that when they win. They're not called monkeys. They're not called apes. But this man thinks that is the problem. Let me go ahead and read something for y'all. All right. How long has the racial propaganda been happening with calling us monkeys? Let me see if I can find where it is. All right. All right. This is an article from the University of Melbourne. And let me see if I can get to it. Salakia. Let me see. Let me see. I wanted to get the AI overview. I'll play the video and I'll find exactly what I mean.
And there are clowns and buffoons that endorse this kind of behavior and get angry when someone calls it out. It shouldn't be called out. You should be on a loudspeaker shouting it out, because this is an absolute and complete embarrassment. You can bet your ass I'm gonna go a little further than this on my next video, because you people are a sorry bunch of individuals, and this is why property value and the value of life goes up around everyone but you.
All right. So racial propaganda equating black people to monkeys has existed for over 3 centuries, originating in the 1700s. They're not calling black people monkeys because they're dancing in the streets. They're calling black people monkeys as a way to dehumanize us, so they can be justified in whatever oppression that they bring towards us. All right. This AI overview continues to say the simian dehumanization was utilized by white naturalists and enslavers to justify the slave trade and colonialism by falsely claiming African people were less evolved or closer to apes because they think we're African. So they're saying that we have not fully evolved and that we're closer to apes than closer to humans. And that's only so they can abuse us. The reason why the property value is the way it is simply because a black family is valued as less because the oppressor wants to have an oppression over us that is not warranted. It has nothing to do with what we're doing. Let me go ahead and look that up for us. Property value for blacks. All right, 1 second. All right. All right. So this is a historical thing. It has nothing to do with how we're acting. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you do. You can sing, you can dance, you can show up and be a scientist, you can do heart surgery. If you're black in America, you're going to be seen as something other than completely human. That's just the way it is. It's the way it's been since the 1700s. We ruled Germany, England, and France for almost from about 700 to 1,000 years. They know that history, but they still call us monkeys when they were able to conquer us. All right, let me read this. Research shows that homes in majority Black neighborhoods are historically and systematically devalued by approximately 23% compared to identical homes in white neighborhoods. This is not an inherent reflection of property quality, but rather the result of systemic biases in the housing market, historically redlining, and ongoing appraisal discrimination. The brother is so off, it just everything he's saying is off. And like I said earlier, in order for us to be a family, we gotta come to agreement on the simplest things. Racism currently exists. That's why a black person's neighborhood would be devalued. It doesn't matter. You could, if there's a neighborhood with a whole bunch of black mansions and the people are literally seen as saints by this oppressor's rule of thumb, it doesn't matter. Somebody in a similar neighborhood that's white is going to have a higher value. That's all it is to it. Come on, brother. All right. Let's skip down. All right. Let me see. All right. So that's something we have to deal with. The racism is apparent in this country, but we can't agree on that. And the reason why we face this type of thing is because we need to go back to our Father as a family. It can't just be a couple of us. It can't just be, a few of us, a small amount. The Lord wants us to turn back to him as a family, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, the whole family of Israel. Let me read Amos chapter 3 and verse 1 one more time. Hear this word that the Lord hath spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, you only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore, I will punish you for all your iniquities. Has nothing to do with us dancing. We got to stop eating pork as a family. We have to stop committing adultery as a family. We have to stop serving other gods as a family. Has nothing to do with how we look in the eye of the oppressor. That's not going to save us. The oppressor is not going to be our savior. We're going to have to be the saviors of our own people by telling the truth about the scriptures. We're going to have to come out of the decaying spirituality that we're in, and we're going to have to come back to the Lord. All right. All right. Let me get back to it. So back to about what I was saying when it comes to the racism. A man like this, and I'm gonna get him back on the screen. Give me 1 second. A man like this would have you think just because a few black people are successful, there's no longer racism in America, that our families aren't mistreated because of racism. And they think that just because somebody like Lil Wayne makes music and is rich, just because Barack Obama was president, just because there are rich black people on earth, there's no longer any racism. There's black people in the political office. There's no racism. But back in 1919, there was a woman named Madam C.J. Walker who became a millionaire. She became a millionaire. But there was still racism, was it not, in 1919? Because in 1919, that's when she actually became a millionaire. But do you know what else was happening in 1919? Members of our families were being lynched. And I'm going to read it. Historians and archival databases record between 72 and 83 lynchings in the United States in 1919. Yeah, there's rich black people in the United States, But do you know what? Black families, and I'm going to keep bringing this out because I hate paying taxes, but give unto Caesar what is Caesar's. But black families pay higher taxes than white people, even under similar circumstances. If 72 to 83 lynchings were happening in 1919, when Madam C.J. Walker became a millionaire, that means there were nearly 7 lynchings a month. You can't say there's not any racism just because a few black people are, becoming rich or being successful. All right, let's move on. We're going to Obadiah chapter 1 and verse 10. Obadiah chapter 1 and verse 10. Give me one moment so I can get there with y'all. All right, and again, that's Obadiah, and I might skip up just a little bit. Obadiah 1 and 10. All right, so we talked about our family. We talked about blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, the Israelites, being the family that God named and chose on the earth. Let's read about what the Lord has to say about one of the other people that aren't included in that family. This is Obadiah chapter 1 and verse 1. I'll start at 1 and 1. All right. This is the vision of Obadiah. Thus saith the Lord God concerning Edom. This is a whole different family. Even though Jacob and Esau were brothers, and Esau became the progenitor of the pale races, and Edom is the children of Esau, this is what the Lord has to say about it. We have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her and battle. All right, let me skip down because I want to go to verse 10. Let's go to verse 7. Matter of fact, verse 10. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob. Jacob and Esau were a family at first, but Esau has been cut off and is no longer a family member. He lost his birthright. He's not included in the blessings of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. That's what we have to realize. We can't save the oppressor. The oppressor doesn't want us to be equal. The oppressor can't be saved by us, and the oppressor does not want to save us. The scriptures on Obadiah 1 and 10 say, for thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. The violence dates back to the times of the Israelites crossing into different lands when they were free from Egypt. The violence is talking about those lynchings, 72 to 83 lynchings in 1919. Between that year, we have to become a family and know what to do as far as each other are concerned. And women have to understand what role they play in a family. Men have to understand what role they play in a family. All right. Let me get to something else. Let me go ahead and share this. Because the women of our family have been poisoned.
Talking about I gotta watch my tone. Imagine being a man that's talking about I want to go on coffee dates and I gotta watch my tone.
I'm gonna let it replay.
Stand up straight when you speak.
Starting right in the middle.
Stand up straight when you see me. Matter of fact, watch my tone. I'm about to get louder, please. A man once told me I gotta watch my tone. Imagine being a 50-50 nigga talking about I gotta watch my tone. Imagine being a man that's talking about I want to go on coffee dates and I gotta watch my tone. Stand up straight when you speak to me. Stand up straight when you see me. Matter of fact, watch my tone. I'm about to get louder, please.
We can't be a family and be evenly yoked with this type of nonsense going on the internet and poisoning our sisters. This is the type of thing that the oppressor wants us to feel. This is the type of thing and how the oppressor is able to divide families. This is the same as COINTELPRO when back when they were trying to destroy black families. Look it up. You got Google. They were destroying black families. This woman, I don't know if she has a family or not, but the things that she's saying is not healthy for anybody else's family, let alone her own. She said pretty much in a nutshell, why would she have to watch her tone when the man is a 50-50 man, meaning he doesn't pay for everything? These women have become prostitutes. These women have become just transactional in their relationships. This is destroying the family. Just like when Adam and Eve were in that garden and that serpent tricked Eve. This woman is being tricked and tricking on the internet. All right, let me get 1 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 14. I'm going to play that one more time.
A man once told me I gotta watch my tone. Imagine being a 50-50 nigga talking about I gotta watch my tone. Imagine being a man that's talking about I want to go on coffee dates and I gotta watch my tone. Stand up straight when you speak to me. Stand up straight when you see me. Matter of fact, watch my tone. I'm about to get louder, please. A man once told me I gotta watch my tone. Imagine being a 50-50.
Can any self-respecting man actually be in a relationship with something like that? Does that seem like a logical thing? Can any self-respecting woman just have transactions on her mind? Can we actually be a family with that nonsense going on? No, we can't. We can't be a family like that. All right, give me 1 second. This is the book of 1 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 13, because the woman is being tricked. She is just all sorts of goofy. The book of 1 Timothy chapter 2 and 13. Matter of fact, I'm going to start with verse 11, because this woman is teaching an evil thing. She shouldn't even be teaching nothing right now on the internet with this type of attitude. 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 11. Let the woman learn in silence with all subjection. Be subject to a man who knows the wisdom of the Lord. And I'm not trying to downplay or down trodden these women, but this type of thing is going to continue to destroy us. She should just be silent. All right. And normally it's talking about this scripture. You would refer to the scriptures. Don't teach the scriptures. She don't need to be teaching a damn thing. She's out of pocket. Verse 13, for Adam was first formed, then Eve, and Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in transgression. The woman is being tricked. She was being tricked when we were in poverty, and they told the woman, in order to receive governmental benefits, you got to kick that man out of the house. That was a snare. That was a trick. And the woman did it. How can we be a family if we keep letting our women, sister, if you keep being tricked by the oppressor, by the so-called white man that runs the government and destroys our families? All right. We got women being tricked into believing that men can become pregnant. You think just because a man is sassy, he can now conceive a child? Where the child gonna come out of? His butt? What are you talking about? Let's go ahead and get that on the screen. Salakia. I don't mean to get vulgar, but this is out of pocket. I might have to play it from the beginning.
And it opens up trans people to violence by not recognizing them.
Wow, you're saying that I'm opening up people to violence by asking whether or not women are the folks who can have pregnancies?
So I want to note that 1 out of 5 transgender persons have attempted suicide. So I think it's important
because of my line of questioning. So we can't talk about it
because denying that trans people exist and pretending not to know that they exist.
I'm denying that trans people exist by asking you if you're talking about women having pregnancies.
Do you believe that men can get pregnant?
No, I don't think women can
So
get
you're denying that trans people exist?
And that leads to violence. Is this how you run your classroom? Are students allowed to question you, or are they also treated like this?
Do you believe that men can get pregnant?
No, I don't think women can get
So you're
pregnant.
denying that trans people exist?
And that leads to violence. Is this how you run your classroom? Are students allowed to question you, or are they also treated like this?
So I want to recognize that your line of questioning is transphobic, and it opens up trans people to.
This sister is fighting the wrong battles. We have a lot more to worry about than men putting on dresses and pretending to have menstrual cycles and pretending to be pregnant. Now, if she believes that that is the truth, then we're far gone. This sister is fighting the wrong battle, being tricked by people that have not the black woman's best interest in heart. Give me 1 second. All right. Let me see if I can find it. All right. Homosexuality is not going to help increase the birth rate amongst black people. It's not going to create more blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. It's going to be a same-sex sexual act that is going to produce nothing but abominations. That's all that is. When a man lays with a woman, she can get pregnant. The man doesn't get pregnant. If a trans woman or what, I get confused at what they're even talking about. If a woman decides to become and dress like a man, that doesn't make her a man. She can still be pregnant. She's biologically a woman. If a man puts on a dress, that doesn't mean he can become pregnant. Is it that easy to trick our women? Is it that easy to trick our women? 1 Timothy 2:14 says, and Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in the transgression. We need to have strong men in our community that can help solve these type of problems. We have that in the ISUPK, but brothers and sisters have ears and just can't hear. They have a mind, can't think, eyes, and can't see. You can't see that this type of activity across the board, outside of just regular oppression, is affecting the black household. This crazy wide-eyed sister is talking about trans men, trans women getting pregnant. How can we be a family if we can't agree on the simple things? Something so simple. Something so simple. Let me get that again in Amos 3:3. Bear with me for one moment. Amos 3:3. She's arguing all the wrong things. We need much more of substance than just talking about needless things. Give me 1 second. The book of Amos, chapter 3 and verse 3. Can two walk together except they be agreed? The Lord is not going to walk with us if we don't be a family to the Lord, if we don't be children to the Lord and do what he wants and do what his will is and do what's righteous and right. And black women, black men, Hispanic women, Hispanic men, Native Americans, how can we be a family if we can't even agree that trans people or trans men don't get pregnant? That if a trans woman doesn't get pregnant? Let me try to understand one more time what this confused sister is saying.
Violence by not recognizing that.
Wow, you're saying that I'm opening up.
She thinks that because a person disagrees with her point about pregnancy, that causes violence. There's black children going missing everywhere. There was just a situation where a young man named Nolan went missing with 3 of his friends that are white that came back. She's not gonna, go gun ho over that. She's talking about issues that don't have anything to do with our success. Black people are being beat in the streets unto death. Let's get to the nitty gritty. Let's protect our families out there. Let's protect each other.
People to violence by asking whether or not women are the folks who can have pregnancies?
So I want to note that 1 out of 5 transgender persons have attempted suicide. So I think it's important.
That's because people are affirming their behavior and not treating their mental illness.
My line of questioning? So we can't talk about it?
Because denying that trans people exist and pretending not to know that they exist.
I'm denying that trans people exist by asking you if you're talking about women having pregnancies.
Do you believe that men can get pregnant?
No, I don't think women can get
So you're
pregnant.
denying that trans people exist?
And that, yeah. Men can get pregnant. Sister, hell no. Hell no. They can't. We can at least agree on that, can't we? Like, come on. All right. We need to actually, like, when I look at the propaganda that's out there with all of these different things, like the music, like the the new song with Miami called Spin That. The black woman is a part of the black family. There needs to be a complete rebranding. Like the propaganda is just a tool to brand things the way that the oppressor wants you to see it. Black men have bad branding in this world. The oppressor does it on purpose. We like if you look at us for what our brand is, our brand in the news and the media is violence and criminality for men. For women, the brand is just uncontrollable sexuality and just being a tool for pregnancy for different men. And our children are being branded as unruly. The black family needs to be rebranded. The news doesn't show you what the black family actually is. There's still black families out there, but we need more to come back and do what we're supposed to do. All right. We're going to move to Genesis chapter 2 and verse 24. Bear with me for one moment. Genesis 2 and chapter 24. I'll let y'all get there with me. Give me 1 second. Or Salakia, allow me to get there with you. All right, Genesis 2 and 24. This is the book of Genesis chapter 2 and verse 24. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. We have to walk together. We have to become a family. We have to be agreed. The black family back in the day, believe it or not, black woman, was more than just a man and one wife. King David, you can see that his family was comprised of many wives. Sisters that believe that we're Israelites are going to have to get over your man wanting to be or having more than one wife. That's the way the Lord sought to make it. You can't have a problem with what God wants. It's the Lord's will. All right. Let me skip down. Verse 25. And they were both naked, the man and his wife, and were not ashamed. They only knew what the Lord wanted them to know. They weren't covering themselves with other religions, because that's what this is actually talking about. Let me go to verse 1 in chapter 3. This is the book of Genesis, chapter 3 and verse 1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Lord God had made. And he said unto the woman ain't got no business getting tricked by some other entity. The serpent is a man in this story, if y'all don't know. It wasn't a talking snake. This ain't the Jungle Book. This is talking about somebody from a different nation, because the Lord in the Bible describes us as animals sometimes with different qualities, like sheep that need to be led, that's us, or serpents that lie, like the oppressor. And he said unto the woman, yea, hath God said, ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? When it's talking about the trees in the garden, it's talking about taking in every idea and every religion. Don't take in the ideas of trans women and trans men. Your husband, your family needs you to hearken unto what the Lord said, not the garbage that's out there. This 50-50 man BS, this transgender men BS, also men. Well, we'll get to them in a second, Salakia. Verse 2, and the woman said unto the serpent, why, Salakia, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden. So you may learn about the knowledge of the Most High. Follow the laws and statutes and commandments. Take in what the Lord told you to consume. but not every tree. Verse 3, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God hath said, ye shall not eat of it. Other religions, don't eat of it. Other ideologies, don't eat of it. Your family has no business getting involved in the oppressor's makeshift world. We are supposed to be a part of our own world. Our families are supposed to be different. That's why the Lord said, of all the families of the earth, only you have I known. The black family is supposed to be different. I see a lot of things going on out there that we shouldn't be concerned with, but we are. All right. Verse 3, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, God hath said, ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And the serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not surely die. Man, don't let that serpent, that devil that's on the earth, get you to kick your man out the house and put him on child support. That's not going to help the black family. It's not going to help them. Don't be the type of woman that affirms your child's homosexual behavior. Mold that child in the ways of the Lord. Men too. You got, what's his name? Marlon Wayans. Not raising his family right according to the Lord. Maybe according to this world run by Satan, but not according to the Lord. All right. Let me move on. Because we were talking about the temptation and how the woman was tricked. All these ideas of homosexuality, zesty men getting pregnant and 50-50 this and yada, yada. That doesn't help the family. Don't be whores for transactions. All right. Let's see what men, women, and children are supposed to look like in a family. Let's go to Ephesians 5 and 25. Ephesians 5 and verse 25. Give me 1 second. Let me get there. Y'all bear with me. Ephesians 5 and 25. All right. All right. This is the book of Ephesians chapter 5 and verse 25. Husbands, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for it. Men, you got to protect your woman with your life. Men, you got to be truthful with your woman about what is actually going on. She shouldn't be walking out the house butt naked just because she's walking with you up the street. The Lord doesn't want that type of thing. You have to lead your woman in a correct way. If you love her, that's what you'll do. You won't spoil her into being a horrible thing that the Lord looks at. All right. Another verse for the men. Let's go to Ecclesiasticus chapter 25 and verse 22. Bear with me for one moment. Ecclesiasticus chapter 25 and verse 22. All right, we gotta stop, we gotta stop lying to the sisters, right? We gotta tell them the truth. That's what we need to do. We gotta let them know exactly what's going on. Bear with me for one moment. Let me see. Ecclesiasticus. Let me see. Salaki, I gotta type that in. Give me 1 second. All right, we there with it. All right, Ecclesiasticus chapter 25 and verse 22. All right, this is the book of Ecclesiasticus chapter 25 and verse 22. All right, we'll start at 21. Salakia. Stumble not at the beauty of a woman and desire her not for pleasure. Don't just start a family with a woman just because you think she's beautiful. What more do you need out of that woman? What more does she need out of you? A lot of families are just started with just simply a man being attracted, and then he doesn't go further than that. He just wants pleasure. He just wants what he sees in front of him. Verse 22, a woman, if she maintaineth her husband, is full of anger, impudence, and much reproach. Don't be a soft serving Negro that just allows your woman to walk all over you and do what she wants to do, tell you what to do, have to do this. She's the leader of the house. She's going to end up resenting you. That's what it's talking about. She got to maintain you. She got to lead you. That's what she's talking about. Or Salaki, that's what it's talking about. That's for the men. Let's go to Ephesians 5:22 through 24. Bear with me for one moment. Ephesians 5:22 through 24. All right, let's get there. Because when we think about what is actually happening in the world with families, we should try to do the opposite at least. Because what's happening with us is just not working. It's just not working. What's actually is happening with us is it's not working out. All right. This is for the women, because let me play that clip one more time with what this woman said. We need to be a family. This type of stuff ain't gonna help.
The nigga talking about I gotta watch my tone. Imagine being a man that's talking about I want to go on coffee dates and I gotta watch my tone.
The date ain't expensive enough, she said. She got to watch her tone when he wants to go on a coffee date instead of spending $1,000 on a yacht for a date. She's not trying to hear that.
Stand up straight when you speak to me.
She's with the man. If she's with the man and there's a tone going on, we can assume that they're in a relationship. They're having, they're having sex. Biblically, they'd be married. She can submit to him in the bedroom, but the coffee date and pay him 50-50, she don't want to listen to him.
Stand up straight when you see me. Matter of fact, watch my tone. I'm about to get louder, please. A man once told me I gotta watch my tone. Imagine being a 50-50 nigga talking about I gotta watch my tone. Imagine.
Ephesians 5:22. Wives, submit yourselves unto your husbands as unto the Lord. As unto the Lord. Verse 23. For the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ is the head of the church, and he is the savior of the body. Verse 24. Therefore, as the church is subject unto Christ, so let the wives be to their own husbands in everything, not just because he's paying all the bills, not just because he spent money on you, not just because he spent that. Let's go to the children. We're going to Ephesians chapter 6 and verse 1 through 3. That's where I want to go. And we're getting ready to end it. Tonight's class is not long. Give me one moment. All right. This is the book of Ephesians chapter 6 and verse 1. Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. That's a simple thing, man. That's a simple thing. Honor thy father and thy mother. That's what a family is made up of. A husband who loves his wife, a wife who is subject to her husband, and children who obey both parents. Honor thy father and thy mother, which is the first commandment with promise, that it may be well with thee, and thou mayest live long on the earth. A lot of children ain't living long. They don't have long days. The days is flying past. They don't have enough time on this earth. And it's because we have not been a family. All right. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and end the class there. Shalom. Until next time, Appreciate everybody who tuned into the class and who watches it later. I'm gonna go ahead and end us out with a video.
African American Heritage Festival. We're going to see what's all to this. If this really about the heritage of the African American or something else. You know what I'm saying? We're going to see what's to this. It's supposed to be about African American heritage, right? But already they creeping in everybody else and say, no room in our hearts for prejudice. So that means all are welcome here because we not prejudiced. And then look at this right here. It went from African American heritage to Race Unity Day. Something to that, man. We gonna ask some of these questions out here and how people feel about it's supposed to be about African American heritage and why we can't just make it about us. Why we always gotta group or incorporate other races. Why this gotta be a moniker? If this is about African Americans, why are we even talking about prejudice? Just saying. God damn.